Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today we're going to look at the B3 Rival wrist release. Now this is the budget wrist release from B3. Most of the American release aids are up in price, and this is the American budget release. Now in price point wise, Australian dollars, you're looking probably around $70. That's from my store. That's based on whatever the American dollar is, but probably other stores are going to be up more, not that I'm trashing them, but it's not the cheap Chinese release aid, which you're probably going to pick up for 30 bucks, right? So what's different about this compared to other release aids? So let's first off compare it to the Chinese. These jaws here are smaller. The strap here is obviously of better quality. It's a buckle strap. So really comparing to a $35 release aid, this is like far superior. Now what's changed in 2021 for the Rival is this has now got a curved trigger, which I like. The last version was a straight peg. Now on here you can see the little rollers under here on the jaws. So it's a dual caliper, open, close. Now that's very much like a True Ball Stinger. True Ball Stinger in Australia sells for around $80. So what's the difference between this and the more expensive B3? More expensive B3 is going to have stainless steel components and adjustability, so you can adjust the tension and travel in the wrist, in the trigger mechanism itself. With the Rival, you've got no adjustments at all. With some of the other release aids, like from Scott, which are a bit more expensive, you have a little Allen key there which you move in and out. Look, I found that didn't affect the travel that much at all because it was just minor. So look, I don't know. To change the length in this strap, one simple Allen key there, nice simple system to increase or decrease. If you're going to swap from left to right handed, you just basically pull this out and reinsert it in the other direction because you want this trigger away from your face. So with that being said, the other B3 release aids are going to be costing you between probably $30, $40 and even up to the $140, so $70 more for the Hawk, which is like a hook release aid. So this is significantly cheaper, and this is going to be far more popular a release aid for beginners and for archers in general than the more expensive B3s, because most release aids you're going to sell are to beginners, because once you buy a release aid you are pretty much set. So let's try this out and see how it compares. I really like the B3 straps, so let's just start with that. I like the buckle system. It may not be as comfortable as a Velcro system, but it gives you the same placement every single time on your wrist, and that uniformity of doing the same shot every time, having your wrist strap at the same position. So for me, I've sort of set it on the fourth hole. Now I'm gonna see if that's right for me after I shoot the shot, so let's just sort of try it out. This review, I'm trying the new Drive NXT. I haven't done a shoot with this yet because the weather's so crappy. So when I draw back the bow, make sure your finger's behind the trigger. I'm just making sure it holds. Right, so now for me, I probably want that a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, but we're going to see when we pull it back, because once you pull it back, it's going to kind of stretch out a bit, and you want to get this finger around that trigger. So you won't really know until you have a couple of shots whether you want to lengthen or shorten that strap. So I'm going to say this release aid is suitable for ladies or kids with a smaller wrist. You can see you've got another 4 holes there. B3 do a ladies, the Tigress, or a kids release, which I've forgotten the name of. I had so many I've just been putting online all day, literally. So let's try out this. The trigger was nice, as far as I didn't feel like it was hard to trigger, and I didn't feel like it was a hair trigger like some release aids. Some release aids you just touch and they sort of fire. It was just nice, so I wouldn't feel there's any need to make any adjustments to it. Not that you can, because you can't. This is a simple release aid. Now I'm going to say to load this, I'm finding the strap a little bit short to load, so it's a little bit harder to load. You can kind of see here, like it's okay, but it just feels I feel a little bit constricted, and I feel like I'm pulling here to kind of get it loaded. But when I get back there, it feels pretty comfortable. So let's just try that again. So the first thing is, when I took that shot, like if I just touch it here, you can see it's like a hair trigger. So we're going to pull that up, and I just touch it and just fires. It's not like that when you're making the shot. I actually could feel the trigger actually moving before it physically shot. So I could feel a bit of travel in the trigger before it shot. The trigger feels very, very light. But it feels in control, so it'd be completely suitable for a beginner. In fact, I think it's good. I really like the curved trigger. I like that curve. I think it's very comfortable. So the first thing I'm going to say is this reminds me a lot of the Tru-Ball Stinger to shoot. The way the trigger opens, the way it feels to shoot the shot, it feels much the same. If you had to shoot them both without knowing which one you're shooting, I'd be struggling to pick the difference. Okay, so the first thing, with the Tru-Ball Stinger, you've got a bar here, a solid bar. Is it easier to load? It may be. Now I tried the Hawk yesterday, the B3 Hawk, with the solid bar or with the flex collector, which is what this was, and I found them pretty much the same to load. I'm going to say that I found this one a little bit harder to load just because of the distance here. I feel like I need to extend it a little bit. So for me to shoot this release, I'd probably extend this out a little bit, or reduce, or put this on like the 5th hole here to give me a little bit more room. Now to physically shoot the shot, I really liked it. I'm not going to say it's better or worse than any other release aid on the market. To me, it was completely comfortable. This trigger was exactly the right sort of tension to shoot. In fact, I'm struggling to see why you want to spend more money than this, and that's probably not what B3 is wanting to hear. So why do you want to spend more money? You probably want to spend more money than the rival because the more expensive items, the more expensive wrist releases come with better components. But saying that, I really like this. It felt great to shoot. Now for me at the moment, it's $10 cheaper than the Tru-Ball Stinger. I think that's probably a pricing thing with the Australian dollar moving around, because the American dollar compared to the Australian dollar is losing a lot of weight. So basically the American economy, I'm not having a go at the American economy, the American economy is not as strong as it was, so the Australian dollar is now becoming stronger to the American, so American archery gear is dropping in price. So I suppose what I'm saying is this is probably the same price as the Tru-Ball Stinger, but the Tru-Ball Stinger hasn't been dropped in price yet. Now if I had to compare them both, I think the straps are very similar. The adjustability on the rival is probably better with this strap here, so if you need to lengthen or decrease for different size hands, this is probably better. The Stinger stays closed, where you see this opens and closes, so it depends on what type of system you like. This to me is a very small system up here, which is nice and compact. Should be good on the string. I don't anticipate any wear here on this release. So overall, which one do I prefer? Look, I would give this a go. Now the True Stinger is the biggest selling release aid pretty much on the market. So it's the biggest selling release aid because of the price and the quality. It's been around for years and years. But I think this is well worth considering because it's got the quality strap here, the adjustability, and I think the head is nice and compact. I like this curved trigger, which is the same as the Stinger has. I think it's just as sensitive and just as good. So with that all said, if I was in the market for beginner stuff, I would definitely give the B3 Rival a go. And I think you're going to be struggling to see the difference between this and the True Stinger. So give that a go at your local archery shop. The B3 Rival, well priced in the marketplace, and check out the other products from B3 Archery to see if you think they're worth the extra. I mean, one thing I would like from B3 on their other options is this curved trigger, because to me that's just comfortable. It's just nice. I really found that quite easy to shoot. It was just very easy overall. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching and enjoy your archery.